My name is Ellen Leal, and I'm going to start off by talking about the workability of this policy. So the affirmative side says that the U.S. should legalize prostitution for adults in licensed brothels, which I believe that the U.S. legalizing prostitution in licensed brothels will fail to benefit this country. So my opponent says that all of our information is based solely on other countries, which we do have information on other countries, but those are the only countries that have legal prostitution in them, so that's all we have to go off for. So the first country that we have is Netherlands, and this is from an article, Equality Now. In 2003, the Amsterdam mayor stated that legalization had failed to prevent trafficking, saying it appeared impossible to create a safe and controllable zone for women that was not open to abuse by organized crime. In 2007, a government report noted that pimps are still very common in phenomenon. So illegal prostitution will still be going on, which is my second point. And by legalizing prostitution in brothels, it wouldn't eliminate the illegal prostitution. And in Germany in 2007, based on the same article, the government report says that state laws has not been able to make actual measurable improvements to prostitutes' social protection, and that hardly any measurable positive impact has been observed regarding their working conditions. Government also stated that there are no viable indications that the law has reduced crime. So there's still crime going on even though they still have legal prostitution. So in the book, Prostitution and Trafficking in Nevada, Making the Connections by Melissa Farley and published by the Prostitution Research and Education, it states that prostitution in Nevada happens many different places, in the legal brothels, illegal brothels, strip clubs, bars, hotels, massage parlors, and streets, cars, and private homes. So even though that they do have legal prostitution in brothels, doesn't mean that it doesn't go on even in the United States. In another article by NCAS, The Myth and Facts About Prostitution, it states that legalizing prostitution increased child prostitution. This has been well documented in the Netherlands since brothel prostitution was legal. Pimps want to make money and they don't care if someone is illegal, age 16, or whether she's trafficked. Pimps, organized criminals, and especially Johns, which are the people who order the prostitutes, flock to wherever a thriving prostitution industry exists, such as Las Vegas. So even though that we do have legal brothels for prostitution, there's still illegal prostitution going on, and they target children because that's the only way they can pretty much get it, since the legal brothels are taking most of their prostitutes. And the presence of an adult sex industry increases both rates of child sexual exploitation and trafficking. It may be true that some women in commercial sex exercise some level of informed choice and had other opinions onto entering and have no histories of family trauma, neglect, or abuse, but these women are the minorities and do not represent the overwhelming majority of women, boys, girls, transgender youth, for whom the sex industry isn't their choice but lack of choice. So because of no choice but to go into these prostitution rings, they pretty much do it because they couldn't make a living on their own. So this leads me to the disadvantages, which is this policy will fail to protect women. And as this book, Prostitution and Trafficking in Nevada, Making the Connections, shows, rather than improving conditions for women in prostitution, Nevada legalized prostitution has improved conditions for pimps and brothel owners. The women are often found living in prison-like conditions and locked in or forbidden to use the brothel. So the only thing that they're improving is condition for pimps and the owners of the brothel. These women are still being abused. And in the same book, a woman spoke in Reno about her experience in a legal brothel, saying that there is little freedom but plenty fear working at the brothel. If you want to get down to the brass tacks, this was slavery, but it was better than being on the streets. So because she didn't have the opportunity to make a living on her own, she chose to go into brothels legally, and she was still being treated like she was being treated like a slave and not a woman. So they weren't being given the rights that they deserved. And another lady in a brothel claims that in her town, meanwhile, we're required to be back in the house of employment by 5 p.m. They have curfews, and if they need to go to the doctor or run errands, they have from 9 to 5 to make it happen. And this is all out of fear that we'll start running tricks on the corner if left out after dark. So because they don't want them to run away and make their own living being an illegal prostitute, they keep a curfew on them so that they have to be back at a certain time. And in the article, What is Wrong with Legalizing Prostitution?, they state that control and exploitation of another person is slavery. So pretty much what's going on, if you legalize prostitution, is you're making slavery legal. And also with protecting women, it will increase the chances of spreading STDs, even though that they do get tested every week. It takes about 2 weeks to detect gonorrhea and chlamydia, and 1 week to 3 months to detect syphilis, and 6 weeks to 3 months to detect HIV, hepatitis C, and B. So even though they do get tested between every week, they will still be able to spread it, even though, when they're not being tested between those weeks, because it's not detected.